Many years ago, I got a tear in my esophagus, and I won't go into the details as to why, but it caused me bleeding. And it's possible there's still some scar tissue left, but I'm not sure of that. I'm not sure of that. But either way, I've never been a very good chewer of my food. And if I'm eating certain foods and I kind of gulp them down as if I'm a alligator swallowing, I don't know, a huge hunk of flesh without chewing it, occasionally that food will get caught in my esophagus. And it's very unpleasant. And oftentimes I'll take a swig of water hoping to wash it down. But if it's really stuck there, the water doesn't go down. And all of a sudden you're almost drowning with a pool of water and a chunk of food blocked in your esophagus. It's very unpleasant. And it's not attractive. And your gag reflex is going off. And if you're in a restaurant, or you got to get out of there because it's not going to be pretty. And it causes these spasms in the esophagus that can last quite a while as it tries to get the food out. And it hurts. And you can talk and you can breathe, so you're not, I don't think your life's in danger. But I was eating a hunk of beef jerky yesterday before I headed out of my home, away from home, my little home. And enjoying the protein, enjoying the flavor. Apparently, I did not chew up my chunk of beef jerky adequately. And for those that are familiar with beef jerky, you know, because usually it happens with breasts of chicken, because the breast isn't as juicy as a thigh or a leg or whatever. It sometimes can be a little dry. And when the food I'm eating is a little dry but very solid or hard to break up, sometimes it'll get lodged in there. And there's nothing much harder to break up than a big chunk of beef jerky. It's been sitting on a shelf for decades and it's salted and dried out, and you kind of chaw on it to chew it up if you're doing it right. But for me, I was like the alligator gulping down the fish before I even chewed it. So it got lodged in there, and I immediately thought I could dislodge it with some water, and that didn't work, and it led to 10 minutes of ugliness over the toilet that I'll share you the gory details. But it was still in there, and usually after those 10 minutes are passed, it loosens up or comes out one way, it goes down or comes up. But it did neither. It sat there, and I'm going, this kind of hurts. I got a clump in my chest. I can't swallow it down. It feels there's a blockage, but I can talk and breathe. But it's not pleasant. What am I going to do? I've been in my room 20 minutes. I was going to go to the coffee shop. Maybe if I go to the coffee shop, it'll loosen up on my scooter ride. It did not loosen up on my scooter ride. And I didn't sit, but I was extremely unpleasant, trying to drink coffee, trying to drink water, trying to choke it out, trying to get it to go down for over an hour at the coffee shop. And I'm online looking up what to do, and some of the things are saying if you have this happen and it gets stuck there for more than an hour, seek medical attention. Some said you can wait up to 24 hours. I'm imagining, holy crap, 24 hours of this feeling, going to my daughter's football game with a hunk of beef jerky stuck in my esophagus. I quickly thought of the benefits, that I might lose a little weight over the next 24 hours because I wouldn't be able to consume anything. But I also thought I might not make it. So I'm looking up little remedies, and one thing said, well, sometimes it just needs a little lubrication. As yucky as it sounds, try eating a spoonful of butter. So I asked the coffee shop if they sold any, had any butter or oil or something I could, and I'm sitting there very unpleasantly, very awkwardly going, I'm kind of choking, but I didn't want them calling an ambulance. But I have something in my esophagus, and I hear the butter might help, and they didn't. So I got on my scooter, left everything at the coffee shop, rode to a local breakfast joint, and Waited just for a few moments. But let me tell you, when you got to have a chunk of beef jerky stuck in your esophagus, those few minutes are very unpleasant as they deal with a big crowd of kids that comes in front of you. But either way, I went up to the hostess and tried to explain to her how I needed some butter. And I go, could I have some? It's kind of I'm choking on something, and I've read that butter might help. She got me a pack, and it makes me gag just thinking about it. I squeezed it in my mouth and swallowed the butter, hoping that would help. It did not help. It wasn't quite as bad as I expected it to taste, but it did not help. So I kind of walked around, gagged some more, rode my scooter back to the coffee shop, because that's where all my stuff was, including, I think, even my phone. Flipped around, looking for what else to do, panicking, worrying I'm going to miss my daughter's football game. I might not even make it. And certainly going to be unpleasant, and wondering if I need to go to a doctor or a hospital or what have you. And then on another piece of advice, it said sometimes carbonated beverages like cola can help. And I go, well, I'm really desperate. I'm going to walk, and I see a Walgreens over there. It's, I don't know, a couple hundred yards away. I walk over to a Walgreens, buy a Coke. By the way, it was $2.89 for a bottle. I thought that was a little high. It was buy two for $4.50. So I did the calculation while I'm choking on a piece of beef jerky, because I like getting a good deal, and decided I did not, even if it's a slightly better deal, did not want 2 bottles of Coke just because it was a slightly better deal, because this was a medicinal emergency that I was here for. So I said, okay, Ken, let's stop my quest for a good deal and let's see if this Coke happens. So as hard as it was for me, I ponied up the $2.89 plus tax for the bottle of Coke Classic. As I was walking in, I saw boxes of Pepsi, and although carbonated, I was saying, no, I want Coke. I'm not going to do Pepsi or something else. So I'm paying, and the man's asking me if I want a receipt, and I was thinking in my head, sir, I can't tell you how little do I want the receipt to this cola. And went outside, opened it up, it went psh. I wasn't sure if it was loud enough. Psh. Took a swig, and it went down. I was scared because everything I'd consumed in the last 2 hours had come back up and caused gagging and no dislodging. But the Coke went down, and I felt a little different. I took another swig, and I was able to swallow. There was still a little agitation or irritation in the esophagus, so I still felt something. But the blockage had removed. The beef jerky had gone down my esophagus. So I tell this long-winded story for anybody out there that is dealing with this and has something stuck in their esophagus, but they can still talk and breathe and can't get it to go down or come up. I struggled with it for 2 hours yesterday, and I got a carbonated beverage, and it worked. And I don't know if the carbonation hitting the back of your throat causes some reaction in your esophagus or your throat or why, but it enabled the food to pass. It enabled the food to pass. And that felt good.